Sword Art Online's game design is garbage. For a game that's supposed to be the pinnacle of VR, it's like they forgot what makes a game actually fun. The leveling system is dull, class options are non-existent, and the combat is repetitive and boring. Sword Art Online feels more like a punishment than a game anyone would willingly play. Now compare that to Yggdrasil from Overlord, a game that actually respects the player. You get real control over your playstyle, with options for strategies that are actually fun. In every way Sword Art Online falls flat, Yggdrasil delivers. Let's dive in and break down why Yggdrasil is what a true fictional game should be.
If Yggdrasil was a real game, would it be fun to play? In this video, I'll analyze the Overlord anime series and break down Yggdrasil's game design. The anime begins with an explanation about a dive massively multiplayer online role-playing game, or DMMORPG for short. It's a type of game where you can immerse yourself in an imaginary world, as if you were in it, so it's pretty similar to Sword Art Online. Yggdrasil was released in the year 2126. The game was considered one of the best, and it became wildly popular in Japan. After 12 years of operation, Yggdrasil is about to be shut down, so this story takes place in the year 2138. 12 years is a short time span for an MMORPG. Most of the popular MMORPGs played today, like World of Warcraft and RuneScape, have been around for a lot longer than 12 years. Yggdrasil seems to be a medieval fantasy type of game. The armor looks cool and the combat seems fun. There's magic and melee combat. Based on the name, Yggdrasil is most likely inspired by Norse cosmology. Yggdrasil is played in a first-person POV, which is typical for these virtual reality MMORPGs. The user interface is really cluttered for a first-person POV game. You have the time in the top right-hand corner, the current location in the top middle, your name and stats in the top left-hand corner, the settings in the lower left-hand corner, and a map in the lower right-hand corner. This is the kind of thing that you would expect to see in a third-person POV game. In first-person POV games, you just have the basics like your name and HP. A player named Momonga talks to his guildmate Hiro, so players don't have to play as humans in Yggdrasil. Momonga is a skeleton, and Hiro is a pile of sludge. Momonga and Hiro are both part of a guild called Einzul Gon, and the guild hall is called the Great Tomb of Nazarick. Momonga is the leader of the guild, so players are able to form guilds in Yggdrasil, and they can have their own private guild hall. That's a nice feature. It's like a clan citadel in RuneScape. The conversation doesn't show up as text in the chat box. Instead, the players communicate using emoticons. Hiro logs out of the game. Today is the last day that the Yggdrasil servers will be online. Momonga is sad about losing everything that he worked hard for, such as the case with online games. I'm sure people who played MMORPGs that shut down like WildStar feel the same sentiment as Momonga. There were originally 41 members in the guild. The requirements to join were having an inhuman avatar and being a functional member of society. Momonga takes the guild staff and he walks to the throne room. The guild has their own combat servants. Momonga orders the NPCs to follow him. Another NPC named Albedo is there. The game has a touchscreen interface, and players have to type on an on-screen keyboard. If Yggdrasil is a dive MMORPG, then it would make more sense for everything to be thought controlled. Having to manually type everything out every time would be really inconvenient. Momonga changes Albedo's settings to make her deeply in love with him, so players can alter the personality of the NPCs they control. Nothing is pre-programmed by the developers. A lot of guys would probably play Yggdrasil just to make all the hot female NPCs fall in love with them. Each guild member has their own flag and symbol. Momonga waits for the server to shut down, but something is wrong and he's still inside the game. It's unclear how and why Momonga is stuck inside Yggdrasil. All of the players in an MMORPG should be automatically force logged out when the server shuts down. Maybe someone from the outside world can forcefully log Momonga out. This isn't like Sword Art Online where the helmet can fry a player's brain. Momonga isn't able to access the console, so he can't use chat or call a GM. All of the NPCs have become self-aware, and they can actually talk. Momonga commands the NPCs to do things that aren't native to the game, and they all listen to him. Momonga is able to smell the NPCs, even though that wasn't a feature in Yggdrasil. This also demonstrates that the skeleton appearance is completely cosmetic, since Momonga doesn't have a nose, so he shouldn't be able to smell anything. Momonga touches Albedo, and he feels her pulse, so it proves that Albedo is not a simple NPC run by an AI program. Momonga realizes that Yggdrasil somehow became real all of a sudden. Momonga orders Albedo to gather all the guardians to meet him at the fighting arena, except for those on the 4th and 8th floors. Momonga uses his ring to teleport without any issues, so items in the game work the same exact way. Momonga goes to the fighting arena. He meets the twin dark elves Aura and Mare. Momonga wants to test his magic skills against Aura and Mare. Momonga summons a primal fire elemental, so there's also a summoning mechanic in this game like RuneScape. Aura and Mare fight the primal fire elemental. Momonga is able to contact his butler NPC Sebis. The guardians come to meet Momonga and they introduce themselves. Apart from the characters we've already met, there's the vampire Shaltir Bloodfallen, the warrior Kakaitis, and the demon Demiurge. The game has a wide variety of NPCs. All of the NPCs are loyal to Momonga, and they'll do anything that he says. Momonga plans to find out more about this world. Sebis returns and he reports reports that the guild hall has been transported somewhere else by mysterious means. Momonga orders the NPCs to fortify their defenses and conceal the guild hall. Momonga is level 100, and he's a magician class, so Yggdrasil is a class-based game. Like many other Asian MMORPGs, Momonga is unable to wield or equip a sword since he's a magician class. This is normally how it works in class-based games. A player can only equip their specific class weapon. For example, in Blade and Soul, an assassin can only equip a dagger, and a blade master can only equip a sword. Momonga hasn't felt the need to eat or sleep since he got here. Is this because Momonga is a skeleton? If he had a regular human avatar, would he have to eat and sleep? Momonga transforms into a knight to bypass his class restrictions. This allows him to wield a sword. Momonga is unable to use magic in this form, so players can switch classes whenever they feel like it. Usually in class-based MMORPGs, you have to make an alternate account if you want to play a different class. You can't do anything and everything on one single account. Demiurge accompanies Momonga while he goes outside to get some fresh air. Momonga is able to fly after wearing a necklace, so the game has a flying system. Yggdrasil would rival Alfheim Online. Momonga is also able to randomly make items appear out of thin air. How exactly does this work? Is Momonga pulling the stuff out of his inventory or something? Momonga marvels at the beauty of this world, so we can assume that the game has some pretty good graphics. It's hard to tell since this is an anime, so everything is animated in the exact same style. Momonga wonders if he's the only player from Yggdrasil who was transported to this world. Momonga's message skill didn't reach anyone, but it might be because they're too far away, or the effect of the magic has changed. Momonga plans to spread the name of Ainzul Gon throughout this world. Momonga gives Mare the ring of Ainzul Gon so that he can teleport between the floors. Momonga also gives a ring to Albedo, so NPCs can use items from players. Momonga uses a magic mirror to view the surrounding area. He sees some knights attacking a village. There's a flashback scene where Momonga is about to be killed by a group of players. Another player named Touch Me saves Momonga. Touch Me is way too overpowered. He literally defeated those other players in one hit, unless they were at low HP. That shouldn't be possible. Momonga teleports to the village, so it seems like players can teleport to wherever they want to. Momonga easily kills a soldier and he doesn't feel anything, so Momonga is no longer a human in both the physical and mental capacity. Momonga resurrects the soldier that he killed and transforms him into a death knight, so there's some sort of necromancy skill in this game. This ability is probably only available to the magician class. Momonga orders the death knight to kill all the soldiers in the village. Albedo comes and she's wearing armor, so there's specific armor for NPCs. Momonga gives a healing potion to a woman and she drinks it. Her wound instantly heals, so players in the game use potions to heal, which is typically how it works in MMORPGs. Momonga uses 2 spells to protect the woman and another girl. The magician class would be pretty useful in parties, since it has a lot of protection for everyone. Momonga declares that his name is Ainzul Gon. The soldiers can't beat the Death Knight. Ainz orders the Death Knight to stop, and he allows the remaining soldiers to leave. Ainz wears a mask to conceal his identity. Ainz expects the villagers to compensate him. The village chief and his wife educate Ainz about the world. The currency from Yggdrasil is useless here, so in the game, players use gold coins as currency like in RuneScape. There are 3 countries in the surrounding territories. Ainz demands Albedo to treat the humans with kindness. There's a fight between the soldiers and the mages. Ainz recognizes the monsters from Yggdrasil. The combat in this game is decent. There's a bunch of different single target and AoE attacks. Ainz switches places with one of the soldiers. The monsters attack Ainz, but he uses an ability to completely nullify the attacks of low-level monsters and weapons. This ability isn't even needed. If Ainz is so powerful, then he wouldn't take much damage from low-level monsters and weapons to begin with. Ainz uses a strong AoE attack to kill most of the monsters in one go. The mages are also unable to damage Ainz. Albedo is angry, but Ainz tells her to stand down. Ainz defeats the strongest monster in one hit. The mages can't believe what happened. A mage uses a crystal to summon another monster. The monster attacks Ainz, and he can feel the damage. Do players in Yggdrasil also feel real pain when they get hurt inside the game? Ainz defeats the monster with a black hole attack. Ainz is way too OP. This is supposed to be a strong monster, so he shouldn't have defeated it so easily. There has to be actual challenges in the game, or else the players are going to get bored pretty quickly. If they can just steamroll through everything. Ainz returns to the guild hall. He informs the NPCs about his new name. Ainz plans to spread his name throughout the world. The NPCs misinterpret what Ainz said, and they think that he's trying to take over the world. Ainz and a maid named Narborough go to a fortress city called Yggdrasil. Ainz pays for a room and bronze pieces, so this is the currency used in this world. Ainz gets into an altercation with another guy, and he spills a woman's potion. Ainz gives the woman one of his healing potions to make up for it. Ainz and Narborough plan to gather knowledge about the world. They'll pose as low-level adventurers and gain experience by doing quests. The first objective is to make some money, so Ainz and Narborough need to find a job. The woman appraises the potion that Ainz gave her. It's very rare and valuable. Ainz and Narborough go to the Adventurers Guild. Ainz and Narborough can't read the job postings. Ainz accepts a random job post, but he's not qualified. Ainz and Narborough join another group called the Swords of Darkness. What What an edgy name. Did Kirito from Sword Art Online come up with it? Some of the NPCs are talent holders, which means that they were born with special abilities, such as learning magic spells twice as fast, or using magical items without training. The Swords of Darkness were hired to destroy all the monsters approaching the city. Ainz takes his helmet off and shows the Swords of Darkness his face, but he changed his appearance using an illusion, so players can apparently change their appearance whenever they feel like it. Usually in games you have to purchase a voucher or something to do that. Ainz is hired for a job by a pharmacist named Inferior. He wants Ainz to protect him while he harvests some herbs in the forest near the village. So this is a pretty basic protection quest. So far the quests in this game are really simple and straightforward. The characters travel to the village. Albedo rubs her scent in Ainz's bed. Why does Ainz even have a bed if he doesn't sleep? Albedo has a life-size body pillow of Ainz. She made it herself. But where did Albedo get the materials to do that? This kind of breaks immersion, because the technology level of this world is that of the Middle Ages. A group of ogres and goblins attacks the characters. Ainz easily kills several ogres. Ainz is supposed to be tanking though. He shouldn't be doing so much damage as well. The other people in the party should be doing the DPS. There are also healing spells, so it seems like there's the traditional Holy Trinity roles of tank, DPS, and healer. The characters eat dinner together. Ainz comes up with an excuse so that he doesn't have to eat in front of the others, so the illusion is just a cosmetic appearance. It doesn't affect gameplay in any way. The Swords of Darkness got their name from an old legend. There were 13 heroes, and among them there was the Black Knight, who wielded 4 powerful swords, known only as the Swords of Darkness. The lore is pretty decent. The characters arrive at the village. A goblin troop is helping out the villagers. Ainz and Narbrel go into the forest. They meet Aura and she lures out a dangerous creature called the Wise King of the Forest. It turns out to be a giant talking hamster who speaks like Yoda from Star Wars. Ainz easily defeats the hamster with a low-level spell. How did this weak hamster become known as the Wise King of the Forest? And why does he talk like Yoda? Ainz can ride the hamster, so players can tame wild animals and make them their pets in this game. That's a cool feature. The characters return to Yggdrasil. An assassin named Clementine confronts them. Clementine uses a dagger. This is similar to the assassin class in Blade and Soul. Ainz registers the hamster at the Adventurers Guild, and he names him Hamsky. Ainz, Narbrel, and Hamsky encounter Inferia's grandmother Lizzie. They go to the shop and discover that the Swords of Darkness members have been killed. They get turned into zombies, and Ainz kills them again. So Ainz isn't the only one who can use necromancy. Inferia isn't there. Ainz vows to get revenge. Ainz forces Lizzie to pay him everything she has. In return for saving Inferia, Ainz uses a bunch of locate spells to track Clementine. She's at a cemetery. Ainz, Narbrel, and Hamsky go to the cemetery. Ainz summons his own familiars to fight the undead. It's interesting to see the different types of summons. Ainz and Narbrel confront the necromancer Khajiit. Clementine also reveals herself. Narbrel will fight Khajiit, while Ainz deals with Clementine. Narbrel isn't able to defeat Khajiit. Clementine taunts Ainz, but he doesn't care about the people that she killed. Ainz isn't scared of Clementine. Khajiit summons 2 skeletal dragons that are completely resistant to magic. Clementine's dagger isn't able to pierce Ainz's armor, so as long as you have good armor, then you're pretty much invincible. Narbrel teleports into the sky, and she can also fly. Narbrel uses a powerful spell to kill the 2 skeletal dragons, since they're only able to nullify the lower tiered magic. Narbrel also kills Khajiit. Ainz allows Clementine to stab him in the eyes, and he reveals his true form to her. How is Ainz not taking any damage here? He has 2 daggers in his eyes. We saw Ainz taking damage earlier, so it's not like he's immune to damage. Ainz slowly and painfully crushes Clementine to death. Ainz finds Inferia, and the characters return to Yggdrasil. Ainz has been promoted to a mithril rank, so there's some Lord of the Rings inspiration in this game. Shaltir is trying to find a martial arts user for Ainz, so there's also a martial arts element in this game. Sebis and another battle mage named Solution are helping Shaltir. The characters get attacked by a group of bandits. Shaltir kills all of the bandits with her magic. Shaltir visits the bandit space, and she talks to the leader Brain. He attacks Shaltir, but it doesn't do anything. Brain runs away, and Shaltir kills the rest of the bandits in the base. Shaltir has transformed into her vampire appearance. A group of humans are here to fight Shaltir. She kills all of them, except for a woman who Ainz gave the red potion to earlier. Shaltir hypnotizes the woman, and she forces her to tell the truth. So there's also mind control magic in this game. Shaltir fights another group of humans. Ainz plans to find Shaltir. Ainz talks to the guildmaster of the Adventurers Guild. He tells him that some adventurers were attacked by a vampire last night. Ainz intends to use a crystal containing 8th tier magic. How many tiers of magic are even in this game? They just keep randomly increasing the tiers to make it sound more powerful. Ainz and Albedo find Shaltir. Her mind has been taken over. Ainz will use a rare ring to break the spell. Ainz mentioned that the ring cost him his entire summer bonus. So based on this, we can deduce that Yggdrasil is pay to win. You can spend real life money to directly buy better items in the game that give you a big advantage over the other players. That's kind of what you would expect for Asian MMORPGs. The ring doesn't work, so it means that someone cast an even more powerful spell on Shaltir, using a world level item. This suggests that other players from Yggdrasil are here. Ainz goes to the guild's treasury. So does everyone in the guild have a shared storage? And why do they just put everything in one huge pile? It would be very inconvenient if you needed to find a specific item. Ainz retrieves several world level items that his guild members gave him before the game shut down. He'll give them to the floor guardians. Ainz will fight Shaltir, but he isn't sure if he can beat her. Ainz can't detect the owner of the world level item used to control Shaltir. Ainz is about to fight Shaltir. He casts a bunch of protection spells. There's a ton of buffs that you have to cast before the fight. It would be exhausting to have to remember everything. If Yggdrasil was a real game, Shaltir won't attack Ainz until he gets within range. This is usually how it works in MMORPGs, so that players can have time to prepare for the fight. Ainz uses super tier magic, but it doesn't do anything. Shaltir gains a set of armor. Where does she even get that? Shaltir also has a lance, so she can use both magic and melee. Ainz fights Shaltir. This is actually a fairly balanced fight for once. Neither party is able to steamroll the other. Combat is also based on proper timing and skill. You can't carelessly waste your magic points. It's cool to see the different types of spells or abilities in this game, and how someone should counter them. Ainz is weak to holy magic, so different races have their own weaknesses. Ainz won't run away because he's fighting for his guild. Ainz literally used a Sharknado attack. Shaltir summons minions, and she kills them to heal herself with her lance. So there's friendly fire in this game. Players can attack and kill their own minions or party members. That's not the case for most MMORPGs, because it would be really toxic. If players could kill other players in their party, it would not be a fun experience, especially if you're grouping with randos. Ainz was actually deceiving Shaltir all along, so this is a big mind game. Ainz changes to a warrior class, and he wears world champion armor. Players shouldn't be able to change their class in the middle of a fight. That would be broken for PvP. Ainz uses a bunch of overpowered cash shop items to fight against Shaltir. Ainz constantly switches weapons, so the warrior class isn't limited to a certain type of weapon. Ainz uses a super tier magic spell, and he wins the fight against Shaltir. So Yggdrasil is without a doubt pay to win. The whales will have a big advantage, and it's pretty much impossible for a free player to win a fight. If you're not willing to spend a lot of real life money, then you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. Ainz performs a ritual to resurrect Shaltir. It'll cost 500 million gold, but we don't know how much stuff even costs in this game, so it's unclear if 500 million gold is a lot or not. Plus, gold is useless here, so it's not like Ainz can do much with it. Death isn't a big deal in this world, since people can just get resurrected after they die. There's not even a time limit or anything. Shaltir is free from the mind control, and she can't remember what happened while she was being controlled. Finally, the anime ends with Ainz getting promoted to an adamantite rank, which is the highest. So did the writer of Overlord play RuneScape? Mithril and adamantite are both metals in that game. Adamantite is one tier above mithril. Overall, Yggdrasil is a pretty decent game. There's a lot of stuff to do. People who want to explore the world will have a good time. There are countless customization options, and players are free to become whoever or whatever they want. The combat is fun and there's a bunch of different attack styles. The game is heavily pay to win though, so if people don't want to spend real money, then they're going to be at a huge disadvantage. If Yggdrasil was a real game, then I would recommend people to play it, but the pay to win element will probably be a big turnoff for a lot of people. Sometimes in games you have equalized PvP, so it doesn't matter if someone else spent a ton of real life money buying better items. But that's not the case here. We only got to see the game from the perspective of someone who's extremely overpowered, so it's uncertain how it would be to someone who's low level, or just starting out. It would have also been interesting to see other players in the game, and what other kind of group content there was available to do. Which fictional game in a movie or show should I analyze next? Leave a suggestion in the comments below. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more.
As you can see, Yggdrasil is clearly the superior fictional game compared to Sword Art Online. Anyone who's ever spent time in a real game can spot the difference right away. Yggdrasil has everything that makes an online game feel alive. Endless customization, a huge range of classes, and complex, engaging combat that lets players actually strategize. It feels like a game made for players who want freedom and creativity. Sword Art Online, on the other hand, misses the mark completely. With its rigid, repetitive gameplay and lack of real player choices, it feels more like a grind than an adventure. The world is shallow, and the combat is stale. Compared to Yggdrasil, Sword Art Online barely even qualifies as a fun game. It's a game that punishes players instead of rewarding them, and anyone who's played a decent game before will recognize how badly Sword Art Online fails to deliver. Additionally, here's an analysis of the game design for You from the movie Belle.
Is You, the game featured in Belle, fun to play? Join us in this video as we dissect the game design. It's stated that You was made by only 5 people. That's hard to believe. Making a huge game like this needs way more than 5 people. Regular MMOs already need a large team of people to make, and they're nothing compared to the enormous scale of a virtual reality game like You. And it's the same 5 people governing the game. There's no chance that 5 people can manage all the players. Normal MMOs have a lot of customer support employees. They don't even show the creators in the movie. community, so why bother mentioning this? It's said that there are over 5 billion registered users, and the number keeps going up. That's really tough to swallow. Even the biggest game out there, Minecraft, only sold about 300 million copies, and it looks like there's only one server in U. How can it handle more than 5 billion players? It's quite astonishing that no one's running into any annoying lag issues. The game itself feels a lot like the Oasis from Ready Player One. Your avatar gets created randomly using your personal biometric details, so there's no character creation involved. That's a bummer. If people end up with an appearance they don't like, chances are they'll get frustrated and quit. The game ought to let players choose their avatar's appearance. These avatars come in all shapes and sizes, so you don't have to play as a human. It looks like players can cancel their avatar's appearance and re-roll again. It'd be a whole lot easier if players could simply pick their appearance right from the beginning, instead of leaving it to luck. The main character picks the name Belle. How is it even possible that the name Belle is still available? With over 5 billion players and counting, you'd think someone would have snatched up the name Belle a long time ago, given that it's a pretty common word. Unique and rare names are a hot commodity in online games, and can fetch a hefty price. It'd be way more realistic if her name was something like XXX_it's Belle69421337_XXX. Players engage in the game by wearing earbuds that sync with their senses. While playing, they remain conscious, so it's not a complete full dive experience like Sword Art Online. Essentially, they're imagining everything in their minds, because there's nothing physically visible to look at. There's no screen or headset. What's even more puzzling is that it doesn't seem to require any money to start playing the game. There are also no microtransactions or subscription fees either. So how is the game profitable for the company? Creating a huge game like this likely took hundreds of millions of dollars. Plus the server expenses run into the millions. How are they earning sufficient money to survive? How do players move around in the game? Since there's no mouse and keyboard, they can't simply click on the screen or press buttons. It's mentioned that their movements get synchronized, but they don't have to physically move in real life to control their character, unlike the Oasis and Ready Player One. How do players manage to fly in this game? And what's the point of the whole experience? It looks like players are mostly wandering around without a clear purpose. What exactly is the game's objective? The main character racks up more than 23 million followers in a single day after singing in the game. What sets her apart? In a game with over 5 billion players, there have to be at least a few thousand other singers. Why are players reacting as if they've never encountered anyone singing before? Plus, there are plenty of real-life singers in the world outside the game. It's not as if the players are forced to solely listen to singers within the game. The in-game outfits are stylish, which should please players interested in fashion. However, it's not clear how players acquire new outfits. Do they need to buy them? Or are they automatically unlocked? Millions of players attend a virtual concert, which raises questions about how there's no lag, or technical issues with such a massive number of players gathered in one location. PvP is everywhere, and that wouldn't be amusing. You'd have to be on edge all the time, worried about getting attacked by others. With billions of players, there are bound to be trolls and troublemakers who'd attack people for the sheer thrill of ruining their day. Moreover, the PvP is seriously unbalanced. There's a player who can take down numerous others on their own. How do these fights even operate? Since there doesn't seem to be a leveling system in the game, what determines one player's superiority over another? Players being sponsored isn't uncommon. Brands also sponsor players in real life. The avatar stays synced with the user's biometric information, so players can't have multiple avatars. Therefore, the game isn't alt-friendly. Only one account is permitted. It appears sharing accounts is also not an option, because the avatar is consistently synced with the individual who created the account. The architecture in the game is quite bizarre. There are a bunch of floating upside-down buildings, and it's unclear why they exist or what purpose they serve. Players being able to enter other players' houses without permission means that random players could simply stroll into your house and potentially take your belongings. The house owner should have the ability to control and regulate who can enter their space. It's unclear how players acquire their own houses in the game, because there's no apparent construction skill. Perhaps it's a matter of claiming a random house on a first-come, first-served basis, but the exact method remains unknown. A player has numerous bruises on their character's body, suggesting that injuries have a lasting impact in the game. This seems to imply that if you get scarred or injured, it's permanent, which might not be enjoyable for some players. The ability for players to damage buildings isn't fun. It opens the possibility for other players to potentially wreck all the buildings within the game. This kind of feature should be restricted, otherwise it could lead to a situation where a group of disruptive players might intentionally destroy all the buildings for the sake of causing havoc. Requiring players to sleep in the game is a total waste of time. What's the point of playing a game just to sleep, when they can already do that in the real world? The main character being captured and interrogated raises questions about why players have to endure such situations. They can simply log out. It's not as if they're trapped in the game. A player named Justin possessing an item that can reveal a player's real identity raises concerns about its potential for misuse. It could expose innocent individuals. It seems inappropriate for a player to hold this level of power. It's baffling baffling how this player ended up with the name Justin. You'd anticipate seeing more diverse usernames, maybe with numbers or variations, rather than the seemingly perfect names everyone seems to have in this game. The scene where numerous players invade a guy's house and cause destruction, ultimately burning it down, seems far from enjoyable. Destroying other people's stuff shouldn't be allowed. It'd be a real downer to log in and see your place all messed up. Players getting stuck in the midst of a massive crowd can be frustrating. It's not fun when you're trying to go about your own business, only to be blocked by others. In most typical MMOs, characters don't occupy physical space, allowing them to stand in the same location without causing obstructions, the main character having her identity revealed, leading to millions of players knowing her appearance, is a significant invasion of privacy, akin to doxing someone in the real world. The main character hops on a public bus. Why doesn't anyone recognize her? She's the most popular player in you, and billions of players know who she is, especially after her real identity was revealed. If this was real life, she'd totally get recognized on that bus. A bunch of famous celebrities get spotted whenever they're out in public. The character isn't even wearing a disguise, or concealing her identity in any way. Overall, You in the Movie Belle presents a virtual reality game that, while visually captivating, raises significant concerns. The game's depiction is intriguing, but falls short in some crucial areas. While the expansive world and diverse interactions are initially appealing, the absence of player choice in creating avatars is limiting and frustrating. This lack of customization might deter players seeking personalization in their gaming experience, raising doubts about the game's overall appeal. Moreover, the movie's portrayal of You raises more questions than it answers. The depiction of the game's management of its colossal player base and financial sustainability appears perplexing and unrealistic. The unclear gameplay mechanics, ambiguous objectives, and ethical concerns, like privacy breaches and invasive actions, cast a shadow over the game's enjoyment factor. Ultimately, You leaves viewers with lingering doubts about its depth, functionality, and potential pitfalls, painting a less than flattering picture of this virtual reality gaming experience. Do you think that You would be a good or bad game? Let me know your opinion. And that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a like, and subscribe to the channel for more exciting content about MMOs. What MMO related anime, movie, or TV show should I analyze next? Leave a suggestion in the comments below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.